right? One of the things, right, we did this year, which I really liked, so we kind of came up with on the fly is what we call KOR tag, right? Again, this kind of a drill, but more of something I tell guys, anytime I feel like it might be a bad weather day, especially or a windy day, I love doing this, right? Because it gets those other guys involved, right? It makes them have to practice catching kicks, right? So what we do here, right, is we're gonna have our entire KOR team lined up, and we're gonna have our kickers out. And we're, as you see here, right, we got 4 guys out, right? 4 kickers getting ready to kick. Entire KOR units out there. As you see, it's a rainy day, right? And we're just going to practice kicking it, right? Biggest thing, right, is you see the frontline guys cleaning their cleats and still working their drops, right? But everyone knows they don't know where the ball is going to be, right? So again, get those guys who don't normally get practice, right, catching the ball, whether that's your linebackers, right? Your wide receivers catching kicks, right? Those tight ends, get those guys involved catching kicks that wouldn't normally do it, right? Other reason why I really like this drill, as you'll see here, right, is that forces communication, right? So right here we have the hard squib up the middle fullback goes to get it. Hey, he gets a hey, me call from the off returner, right? Confirms it's being caught and turns upfield, right? So again, these are just little things you can work, right? Again, practice catching kicks at other positions, right? And again, one more clip here of it, right? Again, just giving them different looks, right? I believe, especially if you're going to have a dynamic returner, right? If you're going to have a dynamic returner, you need to have everyone else practicing catching kicks because more than likely with the dynamic returner, someone else is going to have to end up catching the ball, right? Someone on the front line or even one of those fullbacks, right? Because guys aren't going to kick deep to you. Um, drill wise, right? Drill wise. Biggest thing for us, right, is that we want to make sure we're drilling what we're obviously going to see, right? What we're asking these guys to do, right? When it comes to kickoff return drills, we take the philosophy of start the drill at the end point and then build it out to the beginning, right? Because that end point's the hardest part, right? Working strike and steer and leverage steer. You hear me say both. We use those interchangeably, right? And working, finding your man and keeping your ball me man leverage, right? So our day one, the first drill we usually do with our guys, right? It's just a simple two-way go drill. You're going to have your kick returner, your kick return player sprinting, right? We just set a pop up about 5 to 10 yards away. He is working sprinting, flipping, and attacking the kickoff player based off of their leverage, right? We tell the kickoff player, you can go to your left, you can go to your right. We don't care, right? But attack straight and then work a direction, right? Now, for the drills for this clinic, right, I'm going to try to position it not so good to getting a little bit better and kind of hit you with the coaching points of all of them, right? Because all of them are going to have good and bad in them, right? So this first one here, again, 5 yards away, right? You see the player, he's sprinting, he flips. I love the first part of this drill. I love his feet. The one thing I don't like with there is the end part, right? The leverage steer, right? Strike and steer. Biggest thing we tell them, you want to have tight hands, tight elbows, right? And you want to work him which way he wants to go. So this guy's going this way. Hey, man, you want to attack him, bring your hips, bring your hands, right? Run your feet and move him this way, right? Get some horizontal displacement, right? Right here, you'll see this player does a good job with at least the beginning, but then he crosses feet over, right? You see how tight the feet get, and he's catching the block, right? He's catching it, right? We want to attack. We want to be the aggressor on this block, right? Too many times guys will get back there, and there's going to be clips on here where guys are still doing it, right? They get back, and then they catch the block, and they wonder why the guy ran around them, right? You want to be attacking him. Another thing to point, at no time during the kickoff return scheme to be successful do you need 10 kill shots, right? You need 10 guys covering people up, right? And getting that vertical and horizontal displacement to give a seam for your returner, right? Next look here, right, by this wide receiver. Love his intensity. Love how hot his feet are, right? Starts catching the block. Now, the one thing why I don't like him catching the block, I do love his hands, right? Because you can see him literally steering the defender away, right? Steering the defender away, right? Again, opening up a horizontal seam, right, for our returners, right? And then this rep here, I think was a good rep, right? You see, boom, flips, right? Hot feet. And you can see, again, it's hard from this angle, you can see him attacking, right? You can see him initiating contact, right? And running his feet, using his hands, steering him away, right? He's steering him away, right? He's getting that displacement on this side, right? Which to me, shows to be a really good rep, right? Because I can see right there again, while the camera angle's not advantageous for us, I can see that he's initiating contact, right? So once we do this drill again, this is one of our day one drills. Again, you can do this with really both frontline and back end guys. Once we get this done, we then go to the next part of the drill, right, which is strictly working the leverage steer, right? Very similar though, we're going to be sprinting back, right? This is a 2-clap or 2-whistle drill. First one tells kickoff return player, sprint to the pop-up, flip, keep my feet hot. Second clap tells the kickoff player he can go around any of these cones, right? He can go around any of these cones. The main coaching point for the kickoff return guy, right, is once I sprint, flip, and keep my feet hot, right, I want to keep my ball me man leverage, right? If this guy runs all the way over here, right, I want a short shuffle, right, but keeping my leverage. I don't want to run out there, right? You want a short shuffle, right, so that way I can keep my ball me man leverage, right? And then once it gets close enough, attack, right, and then work our steer, right, work our strike and steer. So this first rep here, right, you see the first clap here, he's going, second clap, kickoff player goes, right? Right now, he's good, right? All he has to do is short shuffle. However, you see, he just thinks, oh, because this guy's running over here, I've got to go so far, right? If this is the returner here and this guy wants to run all the way over here, guys, tell your guys, just let him, right? Short shuffle, sit right there, keep your feet hot, right? The defenders will always come towards the ball, right? You don't need to rush it, right? You don't need to rush it, right? So that's the one thing I don't like about that part. Now, I do feel like he attacks it, right? At least initially, but then again, run our feet, right? Run our feet. Next rep here, 1, 2. He gets there, he flips. Right here, you kind of see, ends up stopping his feet at the point, right? He stops his feet. One of the biggest ways to get run over on KOR is to stop your feet, right? If you stop your feet on KOR and you stop moving, you're probably going to get run over. That's what we tell our guys. Keep your feet hot and attack. Now, one thing I do like that he does, watch his hands at the end, right? Leverage steer, right? Again, you want to tell him, treat it like you're driving a car, man. You're trying to swerve the turn, right? Steer him, right? Get his ass out of the paint, right? Again, it doesn't have to be a kill shot. You're just trying to open up the seams for our guy. And then last rep here, I thought was a good rep. This is our all-conference, all-American, all-world linebacker, Shane Hartzell, right? He gets there, feet are hot. You can see him attacking. You can see him attacking. You see him using his hands, right? So again, all the reps had good things about him, right? But again, this is a rep where you can literally see, hey, gets there with urgency, keeps his feet hot, keeps ball me man leverage, steers his ass out the paint, right? Now, again, you can do those drills with frontline and back end guys, right? A frontline only drill we'll talk about here, right? You did the end of the block, you did kind of the middle of the block, again, they're trying to find where the defender is. Now we're kind of working the entire scheme of it, right? So they're going to start with cleaning their cleats, right? We'll go one side at a time, right? We're going to clean our cleats. Once the ball's kicked, they're going to work the sprint. They're going to find the returner, right? Wherever the returner is where you should drop, right? That's why I say the landmark might be the 30, but that doesn't mean you're dropping straight back, right? The landmark is the 30, but on the landmark, it's going to depend where the turners tell you where you're going to be, right? And then once you get to the end of it, you're going to work a short shuffle. That way you can, again, stay square and keep your ball me man leverage, right? So first rep here, right? Coach Johnson down here and baby blue is the returner, right? Signaling, hey, where the ball was kicked, right? And you see this first group, they're just running straight back. Right here, this is our linebackers coach, Forrest Ryan, right? Played at Villanova, was a really good player, was an All-American, had 173 tackles, has accolades, right? What these guys don't understand is that if that's going to be your drop right here, guys like him are always going to beat you to the ball, right? They're always going to beat you to the ball. These guys need to do a better job of adjusting, right? You see Coach Johnson down here waving his hands like a madman. Come to me, right? Then once they get there, they get to the 30, flip, right, with urgency, right? And now short shuffle, right? Short shuffle. You want to try to be as square as possible in the shuffle, right? If you're too far dropped, right, guys just going to run around you, right? So again, not a great rep. This rep here, right, I felt like it was a better adjustment by these guys, at least initially, but it takes too long to hit our landmark and there's no urgency. And then when they shuffle, watch, you see them losing ground, right? Once you get to the 30, you flip, you want to try to stay on the 30. Right? You don't want to lose ground because now you're compressing the returner, right? You're bringing all that pressure back there. You want to try to stay on the 30, right? Which these guys, again, they've dropped, they're a little too, turned, right? So this is better on the adjustment, but not so great at the end,